Disruptions to the build-up to the Bledisloe and Rugby Championship, but a game against the USA Eagles. That's kind of what's on the cards at the moment. If you haven't heard the news, New Zealand has kind of suspended the free travel arrangements we have with Australia at the moment due to some COVID cases across the ditch, which means the ability for the Wallabies to kind of prepare and then just drop over into New Zealand is not as easy as it was before. Likewise, the All Blacks' ability to pop over to Perth and then come back to New Zealand, likewise, not straightforward. You're looking at 2 weeks in quarantine and whatnot to arrange. So it looks like there are going to be some changes to the fixtures, which is, again, not ideal, but in the situation, man, if we get the games on, that's pretty much the most important thing. But if you guys have got tickets to any of these games, it's going to be one where you keep an eye on your email or whatever to make sure you're getting the latest updates. Apparently, they're saying the first Bledisloe game at Eden Park on the 7th of August, which is not too far away, that one's going to go ahead as scheduled. The Wallabies guys who are in camp have been in a bubble since the French series, so they should get permission to travel to New Zealand without too much issue. There shouldn't be any need for them to quarantine. But where we do get some disruption is when we get into the later August games. They were supposed to play a game on the 21st of August over in Perth and then come back to New Zealand to play in Wellington on the 27th, a week later. It seems like the Wallabies will stay in New Zealand for those couple of weeks leading up to what would have been the Perth game, and they will play that here in New Zealand. They want to play it at Wellington, although I believe on that date there's already a booking in the stadium at Wellington, so they may not be able to play it on that exact day. They may have to play it on a Sunday or an afternoon game or something like that is what they're talking about, midweek game. And then the 27th game, which would have been in Wellington, they are going to look to move to Perth. So disruptions to the build-up there. And maybe the All Blacks Rugby Championship job gets a little bit trickier in that they have to play the Pumas in all likelihood both times over in Australia. So they were obviously going to play that game in Perth, come back to New Zealand, and then play these two games against the Pumas in New Zealand. But in all likelihood, it'll be in Australia with the All Blacks guys, hoping to kind of see out the current suspension of travel, because by the time these games have been played, free travel is on the cards at the moment, likely to resume. So the All Blacks guys will be able to come back to New Zealand and just kind of go straight back into training without having to isolate in hotels. So yeah, they're facing two of these games on neutral grounds, which obviously sucks. I was planning on going to that game on September 11th. Hadn't gotten tickets yet, to be fair, but that was the plan. But yeah, if it's going to be across the ditch, it's similar to what we had last year, right? We had two games against the Pumas over in Australia, so it's the same situation. And that time we went 1-1. So maybe that gives the Pumas a little bit of an edge as opposed to playing two games in New Zealand, which wouldn't have been ideal. The other bit of news is the All Blacks are going to play the USA Eagles in Washington, D.C. This one is confirmed on the 23rd of October. So that's a bit of good news. The USA's played over in Europe recently. They had a good run against England and a less good run against Ireland. It'll be interesting to see how they go against the All Blacks. A little bit cynical part of me thinks it's partly a money-making deal. They're going to make some new cup, I think 1884 Cup. And it's going to be a regular competition between these sides to promote the game in the States. Obviously, I'm really happy to get to play teams we don't normally get to play, but yeah, it's probably not a coincidence that it's the States instead of Georgia or somebody else kind of on the tier 2 up-and-coming stage. I would equally like to see us play Fiji regularly, not just the States, but obviously the players dead keen to get over to the States. I know a lot of them are big kind of American football and whatnot fans, so it's another kind of sweetener, I would imagine, for All Blacks players, as well as the financial benefits that come with playing in the States. And yeah, hopefully it's good for American rugby as well. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. Are any of you guys affected by the potential changes to the fixtures list? If you're in the States, are you planning on making your way to Washington, DC to see the Eagles play the All Blacks? On paper, it should be a pretty bloody one-sided one. Hopefully the All Blacks would send a somewhat experimental team But yeah, as I said, hopefully a good one for the game. Anyway, you guys take care, and I will talk to you again soon. See you later.